I have to be honest with you.
Oh, oh.
If I see the letters A and I in, I don't know, one more headline, one more email subject line, or one more pitch deck, I
Yeah.
think I might actually scream.
Oh, I'm with you.
I think we've all hit that wall, haven't we?
Right?
It's
You
just
can't
this
just use
fatigue
grammar. You
of
can't just
hearing
guess
about the next
randomly.
big
You have to
thing
understand the
every single day for, what, 4 years straight now?
It is exhausting. And, usually when we hit that level of saturation, the natural human response is just to tune it out,
Yeah,
to
exactly.
just treat it like background
You
noise.
just want to roll your eyes and say, okay, call me when the robots actually take over. But, and this is a big but, I started digging into the material we have for today, and I realized that tuning it out might be the one luxury we don't actually have.
That is the hard truth, right at the center of this deep dive. We're looking at a really compelling broadcast from Urgent Futures, hosted by Jesse Damiane. He sat down with Timothy B. Lee, and their whole conversation is basically a wake-up call. It's saying, look, you can be tired of the hype, but you absolutely cannot afford to misunderstand the reality.
And the reality they describe is so fascinating because it draws this really clear line between AI and every other tech trend we've seen recently.
Mm-hmm.
So the mission for this deep dive is, I think, pretty specific. We aren't here to hype you up. We're not here to doom scroll. We are here to figure out why this technology has stuck around in a way that others just haven't. And why understanding it is, well, becoming a survival skill.
Right. And to do that, we have to look at the landscape. Damiani starts by, categorizing AI as the buzziest tech category, which, okay, is obvious.
Of course.
But then he makes this really sharp comparison to the metaverse and NFTs.
Oh, I loved this part because it validates so much of the skepticism people feel. We all remember 2021.
Totally.
You couldn't go 5 minutes without someone telling you to buy a digital monkey or, some real estate in a virtual world that looked like a bad video game from 1998.
Precisely. And where are those trends now?
Yeah.
I mean, they haven't vanished, but they've definitely receded back into their little niches.
Right.
And there was a specific reason for that, which Lee and Damiani really unpack. The metaverse and NFTs were fundamentally opt-in technologies.
Opt-in. Okay, let's drill into that a little bit. What does that mean?
Well, think about it. To experience the metaverse, you had to buy a clunky headset, clear out your living room, log into a specific platform.
You had to choose to be there.
Yes. To deal with NFTs, you had to set up a crypto wallet, transfer funds, navigate OpenSea. You had to actively go to the technology.
Right. If I didn't want to deal with any of it, I could just not. My daily life, my job, my email, none of it changed if I just decided to ignore the Bored Apes.
Exactly. You could opt out with zero consequences. But the argument here is that AI has achieved this level of, and this is their phrase, market dominance that almost defies imagination.
What a phrase.
Because it is not opt-in. It's integrative.
That phrase defies imagination. It really struck me. It sounds like hyperbole, but when you actually look at the last, 18 months, it's really not.
It's not hyperbole at all. And here is why. You don't go to AI. AI comes to you. It's suddenly powering the autocomplete in your email. It's summarizing meeting notes in your video calls. It's generating code in your IDE if you're a developer.
It's the customer service chat for your bank. It's everywhere.
It has permeated the very infrastructure of the internet itself.
So unlike the metaverse, where the revolution was happening over there in some walled garden, this revolution is happening in the tools we are already using every single day.
It's the difference between building a new theme park and changing the oxygen supply.
Wow.
One is a destination, the other is the environment. And that is why that fatigue you mentioned at the start is so dangerous. If you tune out a theme park, you just miss a ride. If you tune out a fundamental shift in the environment, you might, suffocate.
That is a terrifying analogy, but it gets right to the heart of what Damiani said in the broadcast. He said, whether you like it or not, it's in your best interest to understand how it actually works.
Whether you like it or not.
Yeah.
I mean, that phrase, just remove your vote from the equation entirely.
Totally.
It doesn't matter if you think AI is soulless or cheating or amazing. It is here. It is operating. And if you don't understand the mechanics of how it works, you are basically navigating a new world with a very old map.
Okay, but this is exactly where I usually get stuck. And I think a lot of our listeners do too. I want to understand how it works. But every time I try to learn, I run into one of two people.
Let me guess.
Person A is a marketing guy, just screaming that this is going to solve world hunger. Person B is a frantic engineer throwing complex math equations at me.
The salesman and the scientist, yeah.
Yes, and I can't understand either of them.
That disconnect is exactly why this deep dive focuses so heavily on their guest, Timothy B. Lee. He is a a very rare breed in this whole ecosystem.
Yeah, his bio reads like a contradiction. On one hand, he's a veteran journalist. I mean, he's written for The Washington Post, Vox, Ars Technica.
Right.
He covers economics, public policy, the stuff that affects regular people.
Which means he knows how to tell a story. He knows how to build a narrative and explain why this matters to someone who isn't a coder.
But then you look at his education, and this is the wait, what moment.
This is the twist.
Yeah.
He holds a master's degree in computer science from Princeton.
Princeton. That's not a weekend coding boot camp.
No, it is absolutely not. And that combination, that high-level Ivy League CS knowledge, plus the elite journalism experience,
Yeah.
is what I would call a unicorn skill set. It completely bridges that gap you just described.
So he's not just relying on metaphors because he doesn't get the code.
And he's not drowning you in the code because he knows how to use metaphors effectively.
That makes so much sense.
Think about it. When an LLM, a large language model, hallucinates, makes something up,
Right.
a journalist might say, the robot lied to me. An engineer might say, the temperature parameter caused a probabilistic deviation in the token prediction.
And both of those are completely useless to me. One personifies it way too much. The other is just gibberish.
Right. But Timothy B. Lee can step in and say, look, this system is a probabilistic engine. It doesn't know what truth is. It only knows what is likely to come next based on its training data.
Okay, that I get.
So it didn't lie, but it also isn't broken. It's doing exactly what it was built to do, which is precisely why you can't trust it as a fact checker.
See, that I can actually understand. That gives me a framework to use the tool properly.
And that is the value of the Understanding AI project he launched. He isn't just covering the news of AI like who hired who, what stock went up. He is covering the mechanics and the implications. He's trying to give you the owner's manual for this new reality.
And speaking of reality, I want to zoom out for a second to the platform that hosted this, Urgent Futures. It's a great name, but the tagline is even better. Reality studies.
I love that framing. Reality studies. It suggests that technology has advanced to a point where it isn't just changing what we do, it's changing what is real.
It feels heavy, though. It feels like we're in a sci-fi movie that hasn't quite hit the climax yet.
Yeah.
And if you look at the themes Damiane explores around this one interview, you can really feel that tension. One of them is the tsunami is already here.
Let's just sit with that image for a second. A tsunami.
Yeah. It's destructive. It's overwhelming. You don't bargain with a tsunami.
No. A tsunami just washes away the old structures. And if you apply that to AI, we are talking about the washing away of old economic models, old ways of creating art, old ways of coding. It acknowledges the trauma of this shift.
People are worried about their jobs, their relevance. That is the tsunami.
For sure.
But then, almost in the same breath, they'll talk about symbiotic intelligence.
Which is the complete opposite emotional frequency.
Right. Symbiosis is friendly. It's, I don't know, a clownfish and an anemone. It's two things working together to be better than they were apart.
It's the co-pilot narrative. The idea that AI doesn't replace you, it augments you. It handles all the drudgery so you can be more creative.
So we're stuck between these two massive narratives. It's either the tsunami is coming to kill you or the symbiote is here to help you. How are you supposed to reconcile those?
Well, I don't think you do reconcile them. I think you have to accept that both are true at the same time. For some tasks and for some industries, it is a tsunami. It will wash things away. For others, it really is symbiosis. It will unlock potential we didn't even know we had.
And that uncertainty is what's so stressful. I think that's why another one of the themes they mention is so important. Separating AI hope from AI hype.
That's the critical filter, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because if you're just drowning in the tsunami narrative, you become paralyzed by fear.
Right.
But if you blindly follow the symbiosis hope, you might get scammed or overinvest in something that just doesn't work.
You have to walk that line.
You need a guide. And that brings us right back to why voices like Timothy B. Lee are so essential. You need someone who can look at the tsunami and tell you, okay, the water is rising, but here is how you build a boat.
Yeah.
And you need someone who looks at the symbiosis and says, this tool is helpful, but be really careful, it hallucinates.
It's about grounding all that emotion in actual fact.
Exactly. It turns the ultimate test, which is another phrase they use, into something that's actually passable.
Let's talk about that ultimate test idea. Damiane calls AI our ultimate test.
Yeah.
That sounds incredibly dramatic. What are we being tested on?
I think we're being tested on our agency.
The agency.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In a world where intelligence, or at least, the generation of text and images is cheap and abundant, What is the value of your contribution?
Oh, that's a good question.
Are you just going to press the button and let the machine drive? Or are you going to learn how the engine works so you can actually steer it somewhere new?
That goes right back to the market dominance point. If
Mhm.
this stuff is everywhere, simply using it isn't a skill. Everyone can use it.
Correct. Prompt engineering, in the basic sense, just typing, write me an email. That's not a long-term career skill because the models are just getting better at understanding natural language.
So the test isn't can you use AI? The test is can you maintain your humanity and your critical thinking while using AI?
And can you adapt? I mean, the source of material really emphasizes that this shift happened so fast. 4 years. That's a blink of an eye in historical terms.
It is.
We moved from funny chatbots to passing the bar exam at a velocity that just breaks our normal human adaptation cycle.
It explains the whiplash. It explains why I feel so tired. We haven't even had time to process version 3 before version 4 comes out.
And we won't get that time. That is why waiting to opt in is a failing strategy. There is no later. The integration is happening right now.
So if I'm a listener and I'm sitting here thinking, okay, you've convinced me, I can't ignore it, it's a tsunami and a symbiote and a test, what do I actually do?
I think you shift your mindset from being a consumer to being a student.
Unpack that for me.
A consumer asks, what can this product do for me today? A student asks, how does this system work and how's it going to change tomorrow?
Okay.
A consumer buys into the hype or rejects it based on vibes. A student actively looks for the Timothy B. Lees of the world people who show their work, who have the technical chops to explain the mechanism, and they learn the principles.
So it's about engaging with the how, not just the what.
How it actually works. That was the core message from the very beginning of the broadcast we're looking at. If you know how an LLM predicts tokens, you know why it can't really do math very well without help.
Right.
If you know how image generators understand diffusion, you understand why they struggle so much with rendering text.
And suddenly it's not magic anymore.
It was never magic. It's always been engineering, and engineering can be understood.
I think that's the most empowering part of this whole discussion. We started with this feeling of fatigue, this feeling of being overwhelmed by magic words and marketing buzz. But when you strip it all down, when you get a guide who actually speaks the language, it's just a machine. A very complex one, sure, but still a machine.
And we have a long history of mastering machines, provided we put in the effort to learn them.
Okay, so let's bring this deep dive in for a landing. We've covered a lot of ground here.
We have. We established that AI is fundamentally different from the metaverse or NFTs because it has achieved that market dominance through integration, not through opt-in hype.
It's environmental, not recreational.
Exactly.
We also discussed that because it is environmental, you have no choice but to deal with it. Whether you like it or not, as Damiane said, ignoring it is no longer a neutral act. It's an act of falling behind.
And we highlighted the importance of the messenger. In a noisy world, you need guides like Timothy B. Lee people who combine that deep technical literacy
Yeah, Princeton CS degree.
with the communication skills of a top-tier journalist. You need someone who can translate the code into culture.
And finally, we looked at the stakes. We are living in these urgent futures, and we're caught between the tsunami and the symbiote.
And the only way to survive the tsunami and actually benefit from the symbiote is to stop treating this like a gadget and start treating it like a new branch of science that we all kind of have to major in.
Which brings us to the final thought I want to leave everyone with. It's something that has been nagging at me since I read through this material.
What's that?
The source called this our ultimate test. But usually when you take a test, you know you're taking it. You sit down, you have a pencil, there's a clock on the wall. With AI, it feels like the test started 4 years ago, and half of us didn't even realize we were being graded.
That is a chilling thought.
So here's the question for you listening right now. If this is the test of your adaptability, of your ability to learn a new reality, have you actually started studying? Or are you still just hoping the teacher cancels class?
Because looking at the speed of this whole rollout, I don't think class is getting canceled.
Definitely not. Time to hit the books, or at least, hit the subscribe button on someone who knows what they're talking about. Thanks for taking the plunge with us on this deep dive.
See you in the future.